You're listening to Mic Drop Moments, a podcast brought to you each week with me, your host, Sandra Garlick. During the podcast, I invite guests to share their amazing stories, knowledge, and top tips, including their mic drop moments, especially for you. I also share my learning and inspiration about life, business growth, and visibility. I'm delighted to bring the Mic Drop Moments podcast to you each week to inspire and motivate you to achieve. Enjoy the podcast and don't forget to leave a review. Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media. Let's make this happen. Welcome to Mic Drop Moments, and I'm here with another episode and a brand new month. And this month is all about how to step into the spotlight. And in particular, it's about visibility on your terms. And I'm really passionate about that right at the moment, because what's right for me isn't going to be right for you. So it's a solo episode today. You've got me on my own, and I'm going to take you through some of my feelings around this and probably give you some tips as we go. So let's dive straight in. And what I want to talk about really is visibility doesn't mean doing more. It doesn't mean having to actually be everywhere to put yourself in the spotlight. I remember when I first started out in business and I felt I had to be in every single room. It's not about that. It's being about it in the right rooms. And it definitely doesn't mean turning yourself into someone you're not, and not a carbon copy of anybody else either. You are you. You are individual. You've got your own needs, your own challenges, your own successes, your own achievements, your own stories. Own it and make sure that it works for you on your terms. And it's about choosing where to be seen intentionally. And that's what I'm talking about today, stepping into the spotlight in a way that feels aligned, strategic, and sustainable. And that's the key thing. Is it sustainable? And I think I want to start by talking about, again, visibility is different for everyone. And for me, it's about stages, being in the right rooms. It's about podcasts, awards, events. But that might not be right for you. You might dread going to those type of events. And I must admit, I'm being a lot more choosy about which events I attend, because I know that my energy has a capacity. And if I have 2 events in 1 week, I'm completely drained. So that's a promise I made to myself at the end of last year, no more than 1 event in a week. And sometimes I've even got a clear week with no events at all. And that doesn't make me wrong for saying that, or you wrong for choosing what you attend and align with. It just means we're being strategic and we're doing visibility on our own terms. And yeah, why do so many people stay invisible? I think sometimes it's the fear or not even knowing how to put yourself in the spotlight, or the fear of or being overwhelmed by, oh my God, there's all these events, there's all these speaking opportunities, there's all these opportunities to go on podcasts. What do I do first? And we get into that state of overwhelm and we do nothing and we actually freeze. And a lot of people think they can't be visible because they're not good enough, or nobody wants to listen to them, Or maybe it's because we're too, in inverted commas, you can't see me doing that, too busy. And I don't like busy as a word because it reminds me of bees all being buzzing around and being busy for being busy sake. They're busy delivering, busy solving problems, not the bees, us, and busy being reliable or being there for somebody else, being a people pleaser, bending your own, schedule to fit somebody else. And I used to be like that. I used to bend my schedule to fit in with everybody else. And now I'm learning to say no, and no is a full sentence. And I've talked about this before. But now if somebody says, can you just do? I say, I really can't fit that in right now. Ask me again in a couple of weeks. And it really is being intentional about my time and how precious that is, and protecting that time and building boundaries into it. So when I'm looking at my visibility strategy, I'm always looking at the boundaries that I want to put in place to protect that time. And there's always a thing with visibility. You think, well, I must do that, but I'll do it later. And I'm doing it right now. There's something I really want to do and I know I should be doing, and it keeps dropping to the bottom of my to-do list. And it's not fear, it's more capacity. I need to spend a couple of days just taking time out to do it. And it's just not happening for me. So I've blocked some time in the diary. I've blocked a whole week out just for doing and getting stuff done, because I know that it will help me with my visibility strategy this year. Now, I used to be a solicitor, and I've shared this story before, and right at the start when I first qualified, before I stood on stages, before I did a podcast, before internet actually, and I was credible, I was extremely qualified, I was very experienced, but I was invisible in a completely different way. I didn't talk about what I was good at. I only spoke about the services we offered. I didn't own my own story because I was part of a corporate branding that we had to talk about. So I didn't show myself as I was. And at first, I didn't put myself forward. And actually, I do remember I was in a meeting and, newly qualified. And I sat there and I said, have you thought of doing X? And they all looked at me and they said, well, if you want to have a go, do it. And I did. And that was the first time I got to speak at a seminar. And I was still using the corporate brand. I was still hiding behind that corporate logo, the corporate ethos, the corporate vision, corporate values, because we had to live by them every single day. But actually, slowly, I started to bring in the stories. And I realized when I gave the stories a voice, people would come up to me and remember the stories, and then they talk about the law and the aspect they wanted help with, but they were remembering me by the stories I shared. So my visibility, my personal brand, if you like, started even then. And it was just slowly, but when I did eventually start my own law firm and I stepped out on my own, I knew exactly what I had to do. And from day one, I stepped out, owned my own story and put it out there everywhere. I engaged PR. I had a PR company working for me. We did publications. I spoke on stages, and very, very quickly that first business grew and I became the face of that business. I'm briefly interrupting this podcast to tell you about the Woman Who Achieves Awards 2026. Entries are now open until midnight on Sunday, the 15th of February. Just visit womanwho.co.uk/awards for all the information. This is your opportunity to share your story, your achievements, and your goals and aspirations for the future. Plus, entering awards is a fantastic way to boost your visibility in 2026. And this year, there are some brand new questions to really give you value by going through the entry process. It's a huge reflection piece. There are also some great sponsorship opportunities available. Now, back to the podcast. But But when I talk about visibility on your terms, it's very, very misunderstood, especially right now. Some people think it means posting daily, which sometimes I do. Others think it's constantly sharing. I mean, I remember once I was told to post 4 times a day on every platform because if I didn't, nobody would see me. Well, and then overcomplicating things, over-explaining things. It just became all-consuming. But actually, visibility on your terms could look like being known in one particular room. Maybe there's an event or networking group you're a part of, and you can become really known as the expert in your field in that particular room. Maybe you are referred constantly by a group of referrers, and maybe that's enough visibility for you. Maybe you step out on stage a couple of times a year or on a podcast. Or maybe you'll enter an awards. You can enter the Woman Who Achieves Awards right now. It's open for entries. Or you could own one powerful story and share it publicly because people will remember you. The problem is when you do nothing and you stay in that freeze, fight or flight mode and you do absolutely nothing because you don't know where to start. And when I'm working with clients and we look where to start, we look first at where they're happiest, where they enjoy being, not where they don't enjoy being, because that's really an uphill climb. So the problem isn't really how you're visible, it's when you're not visible at all. And when you say, I don't like drawing attention to myself, I don't want to be in the spotlight, but actually, maybe you've got someone that can help you do that. I remember when I had my solicitor's practice, the people that worked for me didn't really like going to networking events and didn't want to be seen. They were what I called the working bees. They were, busy working away, and I became the queen of the hive, if you sort of use that analogy. But really, I didn't want to just get on with the work. I wanted to be out there getting the work in, and I was good at it. Whereas the other members, and we had disc profiles done at the time, so we knew exactly who had the strengths, which people liked. You won't be surprised that I was a DI, but you won't also be surprised that there were other people that didn't want that. And they were the S's and the C's. And that was right. They were doing what they were doing because that's what they loved. So if you've got a team, use the team to your advantage. And nobody else will tell your story for you because nobody else knows your story. And it's okay getting someone to write it for you, but nobody will tell it with the passion that you do. Your backstory is your absolute golden nugget. So visibility as a strategy, it's not accidental. It's not luck. Occasionally can be, but not really. It's not about being the most confident, and it's definitely not about ego or bragging or anything like that. It's a strategy, and that's where I've developed Amplify, the Amplify experience, because Amplify is about doing more of what you love. It's about amplifying what already exists and what you're already good at and enjoy. Your experience, your expertise, your impact. And instead of asking, what else should I do? I say, what deserves to be seen more on your terms? And that changes everything. And I'll tell you a little bit about Amplify very soon. So let's talk about confidence. It doesn't magically appear. It grows through recognition, and confidence can be built through time by practicing, by implementing, and just by doing it again and again. So have a think about what you've overcome, what challenges you've overcome. Who have you helped along the way? What systems have you built, to keep going? And what impact have you had? And sometimes you need to go away and reflect on this. And that's why I love my awards entry form at the moment, because it actually gets you to think about this. So if nothing else, go and have a look at the awards page on the Woman Who website, and you'll absolutely see those questions. And they really do give you that thought, that reflection piece. Because when you're in the day-to-day of your business, you don't stop to acknowledge any of this. We never take the time out to reflect on what we've achieved and what our story is. So awards, speaking opportunities, being on every platform, being in every room, it doesn't create success. It shines a light on the success that's already there. Because what people will do when they meet you and connect with you, the first thing they'll do is then go to your socials, then they'll go to your website. So sometimes you've already got it all in place. It's just you need to shine a spotlight on it. And the elephant in the room, I always say, self-promotion. So many people say to me, oh, I was going to enter your awards, but I was waiting for somebody to nominate me. Oh, I couldn't nominate myself. That's bragging, that's self-promotion. I don't do that. Well, actually, let me tell you here right now, 99% of entries are made by self-nomination. It's self-promotion. The 1% that aren't are usually by a staff member or a husband or partner that knows all the information, that knows the backstory. Talking about what you do is not bragging. It does feel uncomfortable if it's framed as ego, but when you frame it as service and through your energy, through your passion, you're not saying, oh, look at me, look how amazing I am. What you're actually saying is, this is what's possible and this is how I can help. And by saying that, you're inspiring others, because if you can do it, so can they. So that's not ego. And if you want people to trust you, to refer you, to book you to speak, or maybe invite you to their events, they need to know what you stand for. So I talked a little bit about Amplify, and it exists because I kept seeing absolutely amazing people hiding behind their logos, hiding behind that corporate branding. And they were waiting to be more successful, more confident, more polished, but they were just waiting in the wings. And I just wanted to grab them, not literally, but say to them, you don't have to do this way. There is another way, and you don't have to get over the fears. What you need to do is to embrace visibility, embrace the spotlight, but do it the way you want to do it, not the way you think everybody else is doing it right now. And some people are utterly confident and out there and saying, look at me, look at me. And visibility doesn't have to be like that at all. So, as I say, Amplify isn't a program, it isn't a course, it's a 6-month experience working very closely with me. It's got proximity, it's got access to me, and it's got a lovely small group of women in business just like you. If you want to hear more about it, then just get in touch and we can jump on a discovery call and find out what your goals and aspirations are this year. So if visibility feels overwhelming to you right now, my advice is don't start with everything. Start with one story. Ask yourself maybe, what am I most proud of this year? What problem do I constantly help people solve? What feedback do I keep getting that I keep getting again and again? Where have I grown? One strong, well-delivered story can become the foundation of your visibility strategy. I couldn't get my words out there. You don't need more content. What you need is more clarity. So opportunities to be visible, don't wait until you feel ready. You just have to have a strategy in place to find out what feels right for you. And obviously entering the Woman Who Achieves Awards, it's not about validation, that's about visibility, credibility and impact as well. So that's a gentle nudge from me. So visibility on your terms definitely doesn't mean doing more. It means choosing what matters to you, where you have impact, and letting yourself be seen where you want to be seen and in the right rooms. So if this episode has sort of given you the nudge that there might be something more for you, maybe this is your moment to step into the spotlight. I'll be back again next week. Thank you for listening to the Mic Drop Moments podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next week for more inspiration, learning and top tips. Want to work with me on your business growth and strategy, speaking, or simply growing your audience? Just get in touch. Visit womanwho.co.uk to find out how you can start your speaking and visibility journey, or even feature on a future podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's podcast. And if there are any topics you would like to hear, just get in touch with me, your host, Sandra Garlick.